What's up, YouTube? Before I get into this video today, I just want to do a little thank you for everybody that is subscribed on the channel. Don't forget we're road to 1,000 subs, and when we get there, we will be doing the gaming chair massage giveaway. You know what I'm saying? I keep saying that wrong. Gaming massage chair giveaway. But let's get straight into it. Today, I want to show you guys a video that I really been, I haven't seen this video, to be honest with you guys, and I want to react to it because I feel like that's what's happening right now. It's a lot of things changing, and I feel like everybody's just ignoring it, going out to the clubs, just trying to get their head out of this matrix that at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to get out of it too long because they're doing stuff right now in front of our faces like digital ID. It's going to get to a point where we're not able to buy anything without their consent no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't even grow stuff and all this other thing. So it's important to like keep up with, everything going on. But yeah, let's get to it.
We're living in an extraordinary moment in history. We are at a moment here in 2025 where we have world historic, game-changing technologies now starting to scale. But America and the world itself are going through huge contortions. And there's been 3 previous junctures where Americans have found themselves in this exact place. And the key piece of this is tipping points. When do you go from the slow build of a thing that's kind of clunky and not really working, do you all of a sudden get an iPhone that goes, holy shit, this is the most amazing thing in the world, and then everybody needs them?
Bro, facts. I know exactly what he mean by that. Bruh, have y'all thought about the fact that just the other day, iPhones just came out, but before the iPhone, like the touchscreen iPhone came out, they had the silver back on it. And then they had this small, I'm talking about the iPods. They had the silverback iPods, which was touchscreen, but they also had the ones that was just like MP3, like you had to plug it into a computer. It was just like 4 buttons on there, and you had to plug it into a computer and download music. Now, all of a sudden, they got touchscreen technology. Bro, this stuff been out. Like, everything that's coming out been out for years. I mean, thousands of years. Obviously, it's old technology that y'all putting out here. And it's like, if y'all go look at the hieroglyphs, I seen one picture and it was literally like a Nokia phone, bro. Like the same phone that they just showed in this video. So it's like, they're just playing around, bro. They're playing around because they know that their time is up and it's almost time for the Great Reset. And we're really living in the Truman Show because it's like, they're looking at us like, bro, they're waking up. Their conscience is rising. It's time for us to basically find ways to slowly kill the people off before they really, unite and try to take us over, because it's so many. It's not just about the elites and the Illuminati and all these other people. It's people above them too. I mean, it's a whole hierarchy. So we're going to have to unite as a people just to get out of this specific system, and then we're going to have to deal with them. It's a whole thing. Like, we're kind of effed.
And what I'm trying to tell you now is we are in the middle of 3 tipping points that are world historic changes that are happening around us today.
Look at this setup. Look at how everything looks like a grid. And the clouds, you're telling me that this is normal? Like, they really try to say that clouds are normal, and it's like, bro, all this stuff, right? And there's nothing normal about a cloud. All this is stuff that they're putting out here to make us literally suffocate because they're poisoning us in the air. That's really what's going on. But the whole city looked like a grid.
Those of us who are in technology, and those of us who have been immersed in it, which I have been for most of my career now, can see clearly these kind of incremental stages of these new technologies, that all successful new technologies go through a technology adoption curve. Let's say like Uber, the idea like, oh my God, instead of a taxi, it's all on your phone. And then all of a sudden, when enough people show how amazing it is, boom, the entire crew moves over. And the old system of the taxi system is gone. So you're watching an old system being essentially dismantled or having to come down at the same time as we're taking off on these new technologies to build the next systems We're in the middle of that. Right now is smack in the middle of that in our era. But we've also seen this in American history before. There's been 3 previous junctures where Americans have found themselves in this exact place. Now, that's not to say it's common. Like, this is 80 years ago, the last time we saw this. And they tend to come in these 80-year cycles. But what's amazing about these things is they have bursts of unbelievably widespread innovation that lasts for 25 years.
I was actually talking to a friend about this today. Olivia, you know who you are. We were talking about like just how everything since we were kids to now, we were so defiant on being disrespected and being controlled. And it's like for that, and I was basically telling her like time doesn't feel real. Like even though I'm only 24, it feels as though like because my soul is old and I'm spiritual. I know my soul is old. My soul is old, and it's like when I think about it, it's like there's no way that people are thinking that the history that they're giving to us, because it's truth in history, but the history that they're feeding to us happened 500 years ago. I don't believe that. And a lot of the stuff that they're pushing out in these medieval type of movies and sci-fi type of films and stuff is what's happening now. It's just they're not, dressed up in cloaks every day. But if you really pay attention to certain people in Hollywood, they are. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a real life Harry Potter movie. Don't that look crazy how they're just like walking in straight lines? Like everything just like this looks like this is scary. But even though if you go to New York City and stuff, you see people on a crosswalk, but they're not just lined up like this. It looks like they're waiting for instructions. Like they're waiting for a command or something.
Basically, we're watching the essentially dismantling of the old world that had been working pretty well, the economy and societies of the West. And then there'd been a crash and you run into the Great Depression of the 1930s. Now, what that was the old system of running the economy just wasn't working. And then you had the FDR and the kind of New Deal coalition that came out of the Depression, and they started to get traction. But anyhow, we had to resolve.
Did y'all see that? For all my conspiracy theorists out there, y'all see this? Black eyes. It's just random that their hands are like this.
And the kind of New Deal coalition that came out of the Depression, and they started to get traction. But anyhow, we had to resolve this political tension in America. And frankly, it had to do it in the world because the world also is going through this juncture. And so from 1945 to 1970, we watched the great post-war boom. Many people call it the high point of global capitalism. And you built this crazy economy where you did many things that were completely different than the previous era. Tax the rich at 90%. You watched incredible investment in public infrastructure like the interstate highway system and building suburbs.
Like I said, y'all remember the grids from earlier? See what I'm saying here? Yeah.
Chat GPT. Maybe you've heard of it. If you haven't, then get ready, because this promises to be the viral sensation that could completely reset how we do things.
Bro, the other day I was using Chat GPT to confirm some answers for something that I know for a fact is not true. You know what I'm saying? I was using it for a test for something that was at my workplace, basically. And the answers it was giving to me was incorrect.
The arrival of generative AI, with the arrival of ChatGPT 3.5 in November of 2022, I think we're going to see that as a world historic moment. I think people will look back on that is the starting gun of what will be understood as the age of AI. And I use age in a very explicit way, which is when you talk about a different age that humans enter, like, the humans, entered the Bronze Age or the Iron Age. I mean, you're talking about essentially a fundamental game-changing technology, a breakthrough, a step change in our abilities, that once you cross that threshold, you don't go back. We're going to watch an explosion of amplification, the amplification of our mental powers with digital computers and now AI. are going to be very similar to the amplification of our physical powers that mechanical engines, initially by steam, created the prosperity and wealth of the world that we know now, where we're just going to sell.
Look at this grid city, man. It kind of reminds me of like Tron Legacy, or like certain movie, bruh. This stuff is like, this is really kind of crazy looking. If you look at how they have everything set up like a grid, look at the mountains. You know what I'm saying? The world of nature is slowly disappearing, because you can tell that at one point this was all grass, and look at all these grid towers. There's a movie, I forgot what it's called. If I could find the movie, I'll edit it and put it in here. But it was basically like a world that was underneath a platform, I think. Like, it was underneath like this. It was basically like an electric dome, and people were living underneath, and they didn't have an actual sun. I think it was like an electric light bulb. And it was just the city was just rusted, and all they did was just, I think, mine coal or something. I can't remember how it went, but that movie was it. That's where we're on the verge of going. We're not going to be mining coal, though. We're going to be doing things for AI. And, we're going to soak up the rest of the oil that's left in the world.
This is the first time we have an energy source that is a technology, 100% a technology, not a commodity. We don't have to dig it up as coal. We don't have to tap into it as oil.
Shit. That's the thing I was just getting into, like clean energy. And I was just saying, we're not going to be digging into coal no more. We don't really do that as much, because like the resources are running out, and they're trying to create resources using AI. So what's going to keep happening is they're going to keep putting up these grid towers so that these AIs can stay functioning. And then they're going to monitor our behaviors at all time.
Why is that important? Because once it's a technology, you can consistently drive down the cost. And there's a kind of a rule of thumb in manufacturing, which if you double the number of producing solar panels, you will come up with about 20% of a drop in cost. And this is the point. It's going to keep getting cheaper. And the same thing, flipping around, the same thing with electric cars. People think, well, electric cars are still expensive and whatever. You're not thinking this through, because battery technology is the same thing. That's in lithium batteries. We're now getting whole nother generations of batteries, like solid state batteries, that essentially will be a next generation. But the point is, the forward motion of costs coming down on clean energies is just beginning. And when that happens, you're going to have what? Abundant, clean energy. We also had the big breakthrough in what they call CRISPR, which is we figured out a way to cheaply and easily edit the genome of any living thing. And you just take one example.
Now, why on earth would you guys need to do this? What does it solve? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are gonna say, oh, well, this could be beneficial because it could help a person that's sick or that has a disease or blah, blah, blah. You know why they're sick and why they have a disease? Because they're poisoning us. So the first thing they do when a baby is born is they put you under the light bulb. And then they medicate you. They give you shots that you don't even have to take. Hepatitis B. How does a baby have hepatitis B? The mother is already tested for that. Even if it comes back negative, the baby still gets that shot. And they come up with every excuse and reason why this process has to happen. Natural home births is the best way to go. And none of this would be happening. But it's like, at the same time, regardless of that, we still would get sick based off of just the atmosphere and the food we're eating. It doesn't even matter if it's organic at this point. Everything has been so engineered to the point where it's like, it's edible, but at the same time, it's still poison.
We now know how to take a cell, put it in a vat, and you can give it the same amino acids and the same kind of nutrients and the same things that a cow roaming around a field for like years chewing.
This is another thing. I'm glad this picture just came up with the cows. You want to know how they keep having all this meat for cows apart from lab meat. Like if the ones that are growing on the farms and stuff like that, what they do is they go to the Amazon, like, and Bill Gates does this. This is information you can find. He goes to the Amazon forest and he starts what you would call a wildfire, right? And he burns down all the land, and so that way that because the cows, they have to do that so they could create this for these animals to stay in. So that's why all these wildfires are randomly happening in the forest. It's not just some random person walking up with a lit match.
On grass would get those same nutrients, those same amino acids, and essentially would produce in their muscles the meat. That same thing can happen in a vat to actually grow the same cow cell into actual meat. Not like kind of meat, not like plant-based meat that's kind of like meat. It's meat. It's the same cell. It tastes exactly the same. And what's happening?
Oh my God, that is scary as heck. And a lot of y'all are eating this. They're like, oh, it's not lab meat, is it? Bro, that sounds like magic to me. You're modifying and engineering meat that has the exact cells as the original form. And they're feeding that to us. What type of technology is like science and magic go hand in hand? There's no way. There's no way. Unless they're giving your human like
We've only 25 years ago, it's
Never
like
mind.
2003 was the first
I don't want to have my
time
video
humans
demonetized.
had ever cracked or understood the human genome. The cost of doing that from 3 billion had been driven down so far, it was $1,000. It's now at the point where it's about $100. And eventually it's going to keep driving down to $50 or nothing. It's not just the same level, it is twice as fast. We can now essentially design these things for outcomes that we want to happen cheaply and easily.
They are literally telling us their plans. And a lot of people are just ignoring everything going on right now. And it's so sad. Because it's like they're putting it in front of your face in the cartoons, and just movies, period, and the music. If you look at the number one song, I bet you is either violent or it's about something that has nothing to do with unifying the people. And that's the main frequency people love to hear when they go into the club. If you played some good music that was like telling us to like stand up for each other, like some high vibrational music, they're gonna be like, turn this off, we don't want to hear that. That's where we're at in life. So it's like when all this stuff rolls out, they got you. They literally got you in the place that they wanted you to be in, which was brain mush. You know, your brain is mush if you believe that none of this is going to affect you in the next couple of years. Like, you wonder why so many people are affected by cancer and all these other diseases. Who's putting it out there? Where are the diseases coming from? There's a video of Bill Gates literally saying that they're going to push out vaccines and certain things to reduce the population. Mosquitoes that are engineered to make people sick. They're putting they're putting these cancer cells in our bodies. They're putting these cold cells and flu cells and all type of things in our bodies, bro. It's bad. It's so bad. But yeah, y'all, I don't want to keep this video too long. Thank you guys so much for watching.